everybody out there in comic book land. My name is George Serrano, aka The Don, and if you're listening to this, you could only be here for one reason, and it's a brand new episode of the Major Issues Podcast, brought to you by Comic Book Clique, and as always, I am never alone. Sir, please introduce yourself.
I'm finally Dan the Comic Man, people.
Dan the Comic Man, formerly known as Dan the Comic Book Movie Man. Today we're covering a comic, but how the hell have you been? Dan, how's things?
Well, it's been an exciting weekend, working on some projects that we have to keep hush-hushed.
Definitely some big things.
Big things are coming, yes, people. You have no idea how much big things are coming.
But as of this recording, Avengers beats Avatar in the domestic
yes.
It hasn't beaten Force Awakens yet, domestically. So right now, I think it's the second highest grossing movie
Force Awakens is still number one, but it beat Avatar.
Yeah, it's the 1-2 punch. It's the 1-2 punch we're waiting for. Once it, beats the worldwide total.
Come on, guys, just $200 million. I know it sounds a lot, but it's not really a lot if everybody just goes to the movies like today.
Just 800 million times. If everyone just goes that many times, we'll be all right. How did you feel about that whole? What do you think of the odds that it's actually going to beat Avatar? Think it has a good shot?
If it still stays in theaters by maybe the midsummer, like at least till July, then yeah, I think we have a chance of beating Avatar. I'm a little worried.
You think we have a chance of it being around at the same time as Spider-Man?
Far From Home?
Yeah.
Oh, it might. If it still stays in theater, well, how long are usually movies in theaters?
How long? I feel like Black Panther was in theaters.
Black Panther was in theaters for like half of its year.
What is that a deal that it's made with the theaters?
I think the theaters buy that. Yeah, I think the theaters buy how many prints they sell. But other than that, yeah, I don't know if it's going to stay in theaters for the summer. Depends on how much it still goes. I know it didn't do so good on John Wick 3 and Detective Pikachu's opening weekend.
Yeah, they
did, I think, 53 million.
Yeah, John Wick dethroned it this weekend for the first time.
Yeah.
And the Detective Pikachu did really, really good numbers.
Yeah, I actually want to see that one. I'm not going to lie. That actually looks really interesting.
Yeah.
But as far as I know, yeah, the John Wick 3 dethroned it.
Interesting things have been happening a lot lately, like the certain rumor of the casting of Batman.
Oh, man. Wait, it's a rumor? It's not set in stone? Well,
I'm pretty sure it's set in stone, but I think people want it to be a rumor.
I kind of hope it's set in stone. I don't mind a younger Batman, especially that young. That'd be the youngest Batman we have.
People are talking about Warner Brothers casting Robert Pattinson. Am I saying that right?
Robert Pattinson, yeah.
Pattinson of Twilight fame, but that might be unfair. This man has
to say Twilight fame is
career. Unfair. But that, I think, is his most highly regarded role. Or
True.
At least the one that made him famous. Because you can have mainstream movies and then also have
No, that was his breakout performance. That's where because he was in Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, 2 years prior.
Up until Emma Stone had a couple of these recent movies, I used to say from Superbad.
Yeah.
So,
whenever I introduce Robert Pattinson, whenever I say, talk about Robert Pattinson, the movie I always bring up is Remember Me. Okay. Because that's my favorite performance of him. It was just so... He was a broken, misguided character, and that's who Batman is. A broken, misguided character.
And speaking of broken, that basically broke the internet and broke the fandom in half. Half of the fandom out there saying give him a shot, while the other half are disregarding. I mean, they're
Look
saying
how many
he's
people
not worth it.
didn't like Ben Affleck or Michael Keaton when they were Batman, when they were casted. Yeah. There was a whole newsletter about Michael Keaton in the newspaper, let's not cast him as Batman, or Warner Bros. Is doing a bad job.
The Batman character is incredibly versatile, though, just like Spider-Man. Look at how many different, and not even just live action. What I'm more talking to is I loved Spider-Man the animated series, and since then there's been about 4, I want to say, different shows that have taken place that I don't watch, but each one of those is somebody's Spider-Man show.
Mine's a Spectacular Spider-Man.
Right, and to some people, Ultimate Spider-Man is their jam.
Which is really good, and I'm not going to lie.
Right, and to some people, it's the one that I saw as a kid, the animated series, and to no one, it's Spider-Man Unlimited. But still, everyone...
To no one, it's...
everyone has their own thing, and it's the same thing with Batman. Even animated. We got Batman the Animated Series, The Batman,
Brave and the Bold. Batman Brave and the Bold, exactly. Yeah. Or The Batman, like where he looks like fatter and drawn like chunky in the cheeks.
Different flavors of Batman, but all the same. It's all ice cream.
We sat through years of Gotham. If we can sit through years of Gotham and tolerate Bruce Wayne at 5 years old, then we can sit through Robert Pattinson. I say give him a chance. We don't know.
That's coming out into 2021, I want to say, but the Batman.
I can't believe Ben Affleck walked off that project.
I mean, I don't think it was that simple. I think there had to have been a bunch of stuff.
There had to.
To my knowledge, that's the only reason why he signed on, was to direct his own Batman movie. Which is like, that is the ultimate little perk on a contract, right? Like, not only do you get to pay the hero that you want to, but you get to direct it. Like, that's... I think he was going to write it as well.
Anybody in the View Askew universe, anybody in that realm of Kevin Smith movies have a perfect opportunity to either write or direct any kind of comic book film.
Yeah.
Like, Kevin Smith has been working on Arrow, Flash.
Yes. I'm actually surprised that Matt Damon hasn't been in any universe, but he did play Loki in Thor Ragnarok. And I guess Jason Bourne is his own.
Yeah, Jason Bourne
his
would
own
be like
kind of superhero.
Yeah,
his own like Winter Soldier kind of.
Movies are amazing though.
Right.
I have not one bad word to say.
Yeah, but I say give him a chance, people.
Definitely give him a chance, please.
And I think this is the biggest one. I saw somebody say something similar online, but I'll paraphrase. And it's basically the idea of, if you don't like it, in 10 years we'll have another Batman, and it'll be, we'll be right back at it. Like,
true. Well, we got Jack Nicholson for Joker. Then we got Heath Ledger. And remember how many people hated Heath Ledger for Joker?
Yeah.
And then we got Jared Leto.
Right.
So we don't have to worry about Jared Leto being a crappy Joker, because not only do we have 2 previous ones, but in a few years we'll get a new Joker.
We're literally getting one this year. We're literally getting a
Joaquin Phoenix. Exactly.
We're literally getting a Joker movie this year. So that just goes to show you, like, none of this stuff is set in stone.
And it's also other people's ideas and interpretations of these characters. It's not like Jack Kirby and Tom King themselves were writing these scripts or directing these movies. No,
right.
These are filmmakers that are trying their hardest to adapt thousands upon thousands of comic book stories into a 2-hour movie.
Do you think that this young Bruce Wayne meant to be the young Ben Affleck? Yeah.
Maybe. It still exists in that world, right? Like this DCEU.
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. At this point, they had said on several different occasions, like, we're like out of that business. And then it's like, were you out of that business, or did you go out of business?
Yeah, no, they went out of business.
Did you go out of business? Which is a damn shame when you see the colossal, feat that is in Endgame and Infinity War, So to know that they are throwing in the towel on that, but I wonder if this has any connectivity to anything else. What just
breaks my heart so much is, like, to me, and I don't know, I can't speak for other people, but to me, the Justice League is the most iconic superhero team of all comic books.
Yeah.
The most iconic 7 you've ever seen in one team.
And when the Guardians of the Galaxy have a higher profile,
the Guardians of the Galaxy has a higher profile.
That's bananas. That's absolutely bananas.
And this wasn't even the original Guardians.
No.
This was a Guardians that nobody knew.
Right, so they had to teach them all from scratch, and they basically,
And it blew it out of the water. How Justice League flopped so hard is just mind-blowing, heartbreaking, and just a damn crime against anything.
They're saying a bunch of other rumors about the Penguin probably being in this, and Catwoman, which, I mean, that harkens back to my favorite but also maligned Batman film.
He killed so many people.
What is that? Batman Returns?
He killed so many people.
He was going through a lot. It's a Christmas movie.
Yo, it really is a Christmas movie.
Yeah, man. It's a Batman Christmas movie.
I keep forgetting that actually is an official Batman Christmas movie.
There's something eerie and gothic about all Tim Burton stuff. When you add the Christmas element too, it's just the right amount of Nightmare Before Christmas. And
that's
Batman,
where Tim Burton shines.
Yeah,
his Christmas movies. Edward Scissorhands was a Christmas movie.
Yeah.
He shines with Christmas movies.
Yeah, he likes doing. I think he had literally just did Edward Scissorhands before he did.
Edward. But
and like I'm saying, when you got the Clooney Batman, and not to say that he did anything wrong, but just that characterization of it, Ben Affleck looked amazing, but parts of that characterization I think are also kind of busted. We're that guy with the stethoscope on the safe. we're just gonna keep turning the dial until we hear the click. You know, like we haven't clicked yet, but Batman is eventually gonna click, and who knows, this might be the one that. Clicks
even
for
Christian
everybody.
Bale wasn't perfect,
and like I said, everybody's got their own vision of who Batman's gonna be. So literally, all you have to do is wait, and you will get your version.
To
of
me,
Batman.
I feel anybody can put on that cape. It all accounts to jaw structure and voice. But I feel anybody can put on that suit if they look.
Kilmer was damn near blonde.
Yo, he was.
Like, that's the most light-haired Batman we've ever gotten.
And it was also the weirdest Batman we ever got because he had his mouth open every scene. Yeah, I mean, every scene he was just like,
I mean, this is probably gonna haunt me, but Val Kilmer has a pretty mouth, so that he was probably just out there trying to flaunt his stuff where he was getting paid for it, his moneymaker. He was out there trying to do that.
He did have a great voice though with Batman. Yeah. I can't deny that Val Kilmer's voice when he was in the suit wasn't good. Like, it was just it wasn't like that. It was stoic in a way.
Right.
Like, he just talked normal, but it just sounded like something Bruce Wayne would sound like if he talked, just like without emotions. I don't see Bruce Wayne as a person, even though he's
and you see
very
Pattinson
emotional.
doing that.
Yeah, because Patterson. Anybody that hasn't seen a Robert Pattinson movie besides Twilight,
here's an idea. With you being the movie buff, do you have recommendations for those out there? Maybe not even doubting, but just to get a little bit more of an affirmation.
Yes. All right. Netflix has a movie called Life.
Life. You hear
and
this,
it's
people?
starring Robert Pattinson. Mm-hmm. You could look for the movie Cosmopolis, and then obviously the one I said before, Remember Me. Those are 3 movies that if you want to see a misguided, distraught, emotionally disturbed, or a genius billionaire riding around town in a limo, watch those 3 movies. Okay. It'll definitely give you more of a clue of who Robert Pattinson is as far as acting goes. He's not the sparkly vampire you remember from 10 years ago. I'm telling you that now. He was young, and even he hated those movies. So if he hated those movies but was just looking for a paycheck, then I can't be mad at him. Also, I heard that he doesn't like working out, but he put his ass on the line to work out for this role. He hates the whole idea of working out. He doesn't mind being his skinny
I heard he was dealing with like body issues with Twilight and stuff. And,
so for him to put his body on the line just to please you fans, please give him a chance.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to ask.
Just a different interpretation, but I'm definitely into it. And I think that's the perfect segue because the book that we're here to talk about today is literally just that. It's literally somebody else's interpretation of, I guess you'd say, 2 classic kind of characters in Marvel. We often get slight criticism that we get a little DC heavy on this, and that's because, to be honest,
I'll bring the Marvel out of you guys. Don't worry.
I think we've had some very marvelous episodes, but I
definitely want to talk Runaways in the future with you. Maybe Cloak and Dagger.
Yeah, I've done the Runaways. I don't think I've done Cloak and Dagger yet. My biggest sadness when it comes to the Marvel TV is I have not seen Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And so
me neither have I. I have to get on it so badly.
So I feel like I'm doing them a disservice. But coming down the pike, I can reveal this. We're gonna have an episode basically eulogizing the Marvel Netflix shows, where we're going to be able to send them off because they're never coming back at this point.
And they're really
and even if they
good.
And even if they do, it'll be 2 years, and I feel like all of the memories will be gone and out of our heads. And so right here on the Major Issues Podcast, we'll do our due diligence to say our goodbyes to Marvel Netflix. But the comics sometimes have these tremendous runs, and it's really hard to know when to jump in. Yeah. And it gets intimidating. And DC may not be 100%, easy or have the best continuity, but it was just easier for me to jump in on certain characters where Marvel, it just felt like I needed more of a guide. And I've had that guide through guys like GT and guys like Yogi, who are big Marvel heads. And but sometimes I like to digest miniseries, shorter stories that don't necessarily make or break continuity. We've covered the Vision comic here. And that's a perfect example of that.
Oh, then I definitely think you should get into the Irredeemable Ant-Man. If you want to see, like, especially if we're talking about like characters and different people.
Right? Eric O'Grady?
Eric O'Grady. Yeah. He's a asshole S.H.I.E.L.D. agent.
Yeah.
Who, while S.H.I.E.L.D. is being invaded by Hydra, he stole the suit to run away. Oh, and then he just kept the suit.
And now he's just a scumbag.
That's why it's called the Irredeemable Ant-Man, because he's not the typical hero, but he tries, but he still is an asshole. There's a cover, I think like the 4th or 3rd issue. The actual cover is him using the Ant-Man suit to spy on a girl in the shower.
Oh my god.
He's sitting on the shower head while she's showering.
Yeah.
And he's in the Ant-Man suit. It's hilarious.
I honestly do like that part of it. Spider-Man has such a humongous history that it felt easier and more natural to jump in on Miles Morales.
Yeah.
For me, personally. I do love a lot of Spider-Man stories, but I feel like I've grown with Miles because I've read his progression. And he's still progressing. Whereas Spider-Man, there's not really many.
See, that's how I feel about the Superior Spider-Man.
Yeah,
that was one of my
awesome,
first issues where I ever read all 45 issues in like a weekend.
Yeah.
And I fell in love with Doc Ock as Spider-Man, where that almost became my definitive Spider-Man. Like,
it's definitely a cool iteration, and people like Ben Reilly. When Ben Reilly showed up, you understand?
Oh yeah.
Like that was their guide to a lot of people, and I think Marvel really excels at that. It really excels at like the different Earth versions. Look at Spider-Gwen. Like that's a Gwen Stacy that just decided to say like on another world. Almost an Elseworlds kind of story, but Elseworlds is DC.
Yeah.
But what would have happened if this happened, or like the Marvel What If in many ways. But instead of it being hypothetical, it's literally happening just on another Earth. And in looking for those kind of crazy mashups and those crazy characters, I found Cosmic Ghost Rider.
And I'm so glad he made me read. Well, not made. I'm so glad he got me to read this because I love this.
Thing. The thing is, we sat here last week, a little bit after we turned off the mics, and we tried to sit here and come up with the next comic because, full transparency, we were supposed to be covering Heroes in Crisis. Me and Yogi were supposed to be covering Heroes in Crisis on the cast, and DC does what DC's been doing lately and postponed the last issue to the end of this month.
Very last issue?
Yeah, to the end of this month. And I'm currently going through the heartbreak of not being able to cover Doomsday Clock, the Watchmen DC crossover, because it's been delayed.
I'll get my Song of Fire and Ice books before you get your Doomsday Clock.
You understand what I'm saying? Like, that was supposed to be a year. It came out 2 Novembers ago, and it was supposed to hit a year last November. And it's at issue 9, I think, coming out with 10. And it's May. So, we're trying to figure out what could fill the slot. It had to be comic related because we like to, make sure we're giving a heavy balance of comics and comic book media. And we had a lot of good ideas on the table, but a lot of them were really hefty, really deep, really existential. Some of them, stories that we really want to get into, and we will get into future episodes. But with all of this Endgame stuff that we dealt with, and then the Umbrella Academy, all the stuff that we dealt with last week with covering the Umbrella Academy, all enjoyable, but very, very, very heavy. And so I suggested that we cover Cosmic Ghost Rider because while I do think it might have slightly heavy themes, I just think it's a blast. I think it's fun. So
it has a lot of existential themes. There's a lot of like dark moments in these issues, but it still was very fun.
Yeah,
it was very it didn't take itself seriously in a way, and everything just felt inconsequential. So it was good to read. Yeah. So
I found out that Cosmic Ghost Rider actually debuted in... I had originally read his 5-issue miniseries, which we're talking about today, written by Donny Cates. And that I read that and I fell in love. And since then, he was in Guardians of the Galaxy for a little... He had a little stint with the Guardians of the Galaxy. I think he met other members of the Marvel Universe at this point. And now he has a book out called Cosmic Ghost Rider Ruins the Marvel Universe, where I think he's telling his son stories about Cosmic Ghost Rider if he placed them into real, actual big moments in Marvel's history. And that's really, really good as well. But that he actually debuted in the Thanos comic. There's a storyline called Thanos Wins.
Yeah, I gotta pick that up.
And so it plays with the idea that what if Thanos were to win, and it gets so crazy where the old Thanos actually sends Cosmic Ghost Rider to go get new Thanos and bring him to the future. And that's the first time that we meet him. And so you don't know who he is. And he just... The design is crazy, right? This flaming head now.
His bike is awesome. It has this blue wheel, giant blue wheel on the front, the long pistons on the side. It's great. I love it.
So with the Ghost Rider, comes all kinds of crazy... skills and powers because you're literally taking your powers from hell. you've made a deal with the devil, Mephisto, or whatever kind of version that you want to play with.
As long as it's not the 2006 version of the movie, then
we're good. Oh, wasn't it not just like some guy in a suit? Wasn't that? Oh, was that Wes Bentley?
It was Peter Fonda that played the devil, and Wes Bentley played his
Blackheart.
Yes, Blackheart. Yeah. Yes, Wes Bentley played Blackheart, and Peter Fonda was just the devil. I think. I don't think he was actually Mephisto.
Oh my god. Yeah, I wonder if they own Mephisto, because you got all those kind of issues too, right? Like at the time, Ghost Rider was in a straight up Marvel film.
No, it was I think it was 20th Century Fox. It might have been.
Yeah.
Because I know whatever this was because this was before DC and not DC MCU and Disney. DC Disney. This is before all
Disney CU.
So all we got was 20th Century Fox, which was X-Men. We had Ghost Rider, Elektra, Daredevil, all that. And of those, I did like Fantastic Four. So don't crucify me, people. I was still a kid. I was 12 years old.
So just with the idea of having the Ghost Rider abilities, you automatically get immense superhuman strength, stamina, agility, superhuman reflexes, endurance, and durability. Enhanced Hellfire chain. You get enhanced Hellfire chains, motorcycles, cars, swords, shotguns, invulnerability to fire, heat, lava, and flames. Resurrection, immortality, regeneration, accelerated healing factor, ability to project regular or ethereal flames, ability to travel interdimensionally through realms and along any surface. We've seen him drive up and down buildings. Was that what was that the first Ghost Rider film?
Yeah. What happened was he was arrested, and he broke himself out of prison. And then you just see him just ride his bike literally out of a window and then just fall down, use the chains to latch onto something.
Not a great film, but great effects. I think I've always liked the Ghost Rider design.
I'm not gonna lie, the movie when I was younger was entertaining. It wasn't bad. I didn't find it bad at all. And then the older I got and we started getting MCU, it's like, crap. Marvel really wasn't good. Didn't have good comic book movies really.
Yeah.
That's the problem with the MCU is we're so used to this just amazingness, this passion. Everybody takes these movies seriously and to heart.
Yeah, that you can't even. Yeah, that it's become a whole nother game.
Yeah, so when you look back on everything that was before the MCU, you're like, wait, this stuff wasn't actually good at all.
And so people understand the idea that the Ghost Rider is the spirit of vengeance, literally the embodiment of God's wrath, devil's vengeance, all that stuff, on Earth, sent to destroy and get rid of all the sinners.
Oh, so he did play Mephisto, Peter Fonda, but it's not Mephisto, it's Mephistopheles. Like, if you want to read how that long Greek name.
Oh yeah,
Mephistopheles.
That's exactly what it looks like.
And then when you click on it, it's just Mephisto.
Mephisto, yeah.
So yeah, he did play Mephisto. Terrible.
But the I guess what you would call the biggest or the greatest power of the Ghost Rider, as displayed on both films, is the penance stare.
I love the penance stare, and I think the movie did it really good.
I'm going to read the description of the penance stare from Thanos issue 15, which is where they go into a little bit more depth of the Cosmic Ghost Rider. But it says...
That's one of my favorite panels of the Cosmic Ghost Rider. I know what you're exactly about to talk about.
It says, the Ghost Rider's penance stare is said to be the great demonic equalizer. For no matter how large the sin or how powerful the sinner, to stare into the gaze of the rider is to know absolute sorrow and despair. It delivers back upon those who fall under its thrall every moment of torture and pain its victim has unleashed upon the innocent. For many, the rider's penance is the last thing you'll ever see. For so powerful is the regret and heavy is the woe that they carve out their own eyes, lest they ever sleep or be forced to see back on their own shriveled black hearts ever again. But then again, of course, there's Thanos, and in that comic, that's when they go on to say that Thanos forced the Ghost Rider to give him that stare every morning.
One of the most I don't know what it was about it, but when I read it, my jaw dropped when he's like, "Yeah, Thanos made me give him a penance stare every night."
Yeah,
I was like, "What? How?
So
how is Thanos like that? He is like that?"
Yeah. So in the story, you find out that because you don't know who this Ghost Rider character is, but after a while, he just straight up introduces himself and says that he's Frank Castle. So this is a Frank Castle who is the Punisher. So Frank Castle, as the normal story goes, right? Frank Castiglione, it goes to war. He's a war veteran, comes home. The mob kills his family, and then he becomes the Punisher. So all those things that everybody knows, Thomas Jane or Dolph Lundgren or Ray Stevens?
Ray Stevenson, yeah.
Yeah, or John Bernthal.
The best Punisher.
Pick your Punisher poison. All those stories, remember them, they exist. And instead, in this story, Thanos comes to Earth and basically wallops everybody. The Avengers, the Fantastic Four, the X-Men. He destroys everybody. And right before he damn near kills Frank Castle says he'd give anything to,
stop him, to kill him.
Basically, to kill Thanos. And Mephisto, being the ever so philanthropic
he's a very kind
villain.
man.
Yeah,
very kind man.
Like I said, he's a philanthropist. So he lends
That's one way to describe him.
He lends the helping hand, and Frank Castle makes the deal with the devil. And unlike in other universes where it's Johnny Blaze, Frank Castle becomes the Spirit of Vengeance. And just those two things alone, I think, are pretty cool for the idea of a version of Ghost Rider, right?
The last thing you want is the Punisher as somebody that can literally punish you to hell.
Yeah, you understand? Like, he's Spawn almost in that instance, right? You got the chains, and he just needed a cape.
And what I like is it's the same morale.
Spawn doesn't have a motorcycle, right? Like, he had one in the movie.
He did.
I was about to say it's like Spawn, but Spawn doesn't have a motorcycle. But I think Spawn did have a motorcycle.
With the worst cape CGI ever.
Yeah, it was of the times.
But
it was the best of times.
It was the worst of times. It really was. Steel.
Yeah. So, just think about that. And then with the firepower alone, Frank Castle has never been conservative with his bullets.
Yeah, it's just Frank Castle with a pen and stare is just a scary thing you want.
Yeah. And so he becomes this to destroy Thanos or just to work for Mephisto and destroy all the, sinners of the world. But Thanos kills everybody on the planet. And so there's no one there to punish. And so with no one there to punish and literally burning alive from the inside out with the demons of hell, he just goes crazy. He literally just goes crazy.
He's stuck that way.
Crazy because there's no one to punish. He could just ride his bikes in the hundreds of years, thousands of years pass, and he just goes bonkers. And Galactus shows up. And they make a deal to try to take Thanos down together. And so, to help Galactus, he becomes the herald of Galactus. So not only do you have the Punisher, and not only do you have Ghost Rider in this, but a bit of Silver Surfer, who is the herald of Galactus. And when you become the herald of Galactus, you gain the power cosmic. And that's what the Silver Surfer's board can do. The power cosmic, let me get into that, because that's a whole...
and that's why he can float through space on his, dope bike.
Yeah. And I love the very specific definitions, but it says, the power cosmic is the name of a vast source of limitless godly cosmic energy and power primarily wielded by the godlike cosmic entity Galactus. So, yes. Vast source of limitless godlike cosmic energy.
Jesus.
Just that. It's just that. And so, they said you can use it for concussive force. You can restructure molecules due to the user's mental design, and all that.
Restructure molecules. Anybody that took science knows that that's crazy.
The pure, unfeatheredness of the power cosmic is not given, to anyone. Like that's what Galactus has, but he gives a fraction, and even with a fraction, could do some damage. He gives a fraction to what they call his heralds, the little people that go first and warn people that Galactus is coming. And so Galactus and the now cosmic Ghost Rider, because now it's the Ghost Rider and the Punisher, but now imbued with the power cosmic from Galactus. Now they suit up, they lock and load, they get ready to take down Thanos, and Thanos just blows the head off Galactus.
That panel looked so sick.
Yes.
Just the whole Thanos wins. Every panel in Thanos wins was just nasty. There's one where he rips Iron Man in half. You see his spinal cord. Like, what?
There's just a sick level of brutality that you don't see in most of the.
And that's what I love. I love that some of these Marvel comics go a lot darker and darker to kill these heroes, even if it's inconsequential or if it all gets reversed or if it's in another world or another multiverse, it's still the fact that we're seeing our heroes die.
Here's something I had a question about. Throughout a lot of these comics, I got reminded that one of the big parts of Thanos' designs is like those like vast cosmic eyes that he has, like these deep blue eyes with like that almost stare through you. They didn't do that in the movies. Now, in the first inkling that we saw Thanos, when he turned around, he had those deep purple glowing eyes. You missed that?
I noticed the eye color, but I didn't know in comics that that's a big thing.
Yeah. So like when you saw him, I think they said that the first time that his mother locked eyes on him, she went crazy.
Yeah, I do remember because I did watch Thanos' supervillain origins. Oh,
yeah,
you know where his eyes
have always been like a.
You know where his eyes were like that in Guardians of the Galaxy, the first one when he was sitting on his throne and he just. I know he
definitely was when he turned his head and smiled and said death, courting death, and all that kind of stuff. Yeah,
I do remember his eyes being really colorful in Guardians of the Galaxy.
So with the death now of Galactus, the very last stand against Thanos, Frank just agrees to help Thanos. Because Thanos is like, we can try this, but we can't kill each other. You have the power cosmic, and I'm almost all powerful at this point, godly myself. There's no point in us fighting one another. So we should just
team up.
Yeah, basically team up. You should be my herald, kind of. You should be my right hand. The black right hand is what they call him, of the Mad King Thanos. And together they murdered like countless people on countless planets. And that's the Ghost Rider basically feeds on sin. So this is right up Frank's alley. Plus the thousands of years where he wasn't able to interact with anyone. That screw kind of coming loose. People have equated that kind of mentality to like a character like Deadpool. I guess
very
the
dissociative.
Quickest, yeah, that's the quickest, comparison that I can make. Just one of the like someone who's just gun crazy, violent crazy because they just literally kind of crazy. Yeah, and so that is bananas. How'd you feel about the voice of Cosmic Ghost Rider?
Well, I didn't know what voice was in my head to read it, but while I was reading it in like a quippy, like sarcastic, back-talked way.
Yeah.
Like that was just the voice, that was just the tone of voice in my head when I was reading his panels. It seemed like something like would come out of Deadpool's mouth.
Did you like it, or did it get annoying, or?
No. One of my favorite parts was, I think it was the second one where he took Thanos to a bar.
Yeah.
A baby Thanos, no less. He took baby Thanos to a bar.
And he got him a drink.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's just like, put it on my tab. Don't worry, you guys are gonna die in 10 minutes.
I'm old enough for both of us. yeah. I really dig that. So he becomes right hand of Thanos, and they for a couple of more years they destroy everything and stuff like that, and then Silver Surfer shows up, and they're like, oh snap, it's Silver Surfer, and they're like, where have you been this whole time? And he says, becoming worthy, and he shows that he has Mjolnir. And then, what's his face? Cosmic Ghost Rider goes riding to attack him, and he just smashes him as hard as he can with Mjolnir. Silver Surfer does, and kills Cosmic Ghost Rider for the second time, I guess you would say at this time. And that's where our story starts off, right? It starts off with, because of this death, and because he died in battle, he was granted...
that's right, he went to Valhalla.
He was granted passage into Valhalla, which is the North, which in North mythology is basically heaven for warriors, and you get to drink and talk about your battles, and I guess
that was a funny beginning because I didn't know what was going on, but just watching him like drink himself to, like, well, you can't drink yourself to death, but just watching him like sit by the river and just drink was hilarious, and his interactions with Odin just killed me completely.
What do you think about the new design of Frank Castle, the long white hair?
Well, you said it was thousands of years, right?
Yeah,
so it makes sense because I remember that panel in the Thanos Wins where Hulk had long hair and a beard.
Yeah, so, yeah, because in that Thanos Wins comic, the Hulk is Thanos' dog,
pet dog. Yeah, has locked him up and he feeds him,
and they fed him Steve Rogers.
What?
Yeah, that's the whole thing. We'll get into it.
Oh no! No!
But yeah, Frank gets passage into one of the most exclusive clubs, right? Exclusive
Disney Club 42 or something. Yeah,
like that. Right. You know, like one of the most exclusive places in the world, and only Frank Castle could still start fights. Could still he cut off somebody's nose. can still get into bar confrontations.
Oh, yeah, he cut off that guy's nose because he was like he had sins. He can still read people's sins, right?
He cut off the nose of a guy who went to war and killed children when he went to war.
Yeah, that was he killed women and children.
But to Vikings and stuff, war is war, right?
Yeah,
and so the Odin's like, what are you doing? Like, you can't just go around and hand out your kind of justice to everybody here. If everybody's here, I permit them to be here. They have all died in battle. They have all, deserve to be here in Valhalla. And I thought I was doing you a favor by putting you here and letting you rest. But we find out that Frank doesn't really want to rest, right?
No, he still has to kill the purple guy.
Yeah,
he still has to kill Thanos.
He feels like that's where all this went wrong, because it was because he was fine with being the Punisher, but it was because Thanos damn near killed him and did kill him the first time. That's how he ends up making the deal with Mephisto, and then making the deal with Galactus, and then making the deal with Thanos, and then dying, and then coming to Valhalla. And then
making a deal, not even us, but kind of a deal with Odin.
Yeah,
to just get the hell out of my place.
So how did you feel about this? So Odin basically kicks him out. Basically gives him his vehicle back and says, you know what? You don't have to be on this godly plane where you never have to worry about suffering or pain or any of this stuff. You want this so bad, basically says, like, screw you and the horse you rode in on.
That was it. Just screw you and the horse you rode in on.
And he gives him back his powers, his power cosmic and his vehicle, and tells him that he can transport him to anywhere that he wants to go. How did you feel about Odin's demeanor? I never thought he would kick somebody out of Valhalla, but Odin, it reminds me of the you're not worthy scene.
Yeah, Odin was not with any of this crap that Frank was giving him. He was just not with it. He's like, you want to leave? Leave. The door's right there. Here's your stuff.
That's something that we should probably talk about. A lot of this stuff in this story and in Thanos Wins and just these concepts all together, these people are all like godlike, and the hair trigger that they're all on, right? The hair trigger that Odin's on, the hair trigger that Thanos is on, the hair trigger that Cosmic Ghost Rider is on. Like, literally anything will just set these people off to killing everyone in the room. Did you get that feeling?
Yeah, no. The way Castle was, where he didn't want to kill the people in the bar, but so he or when he went to fight. What was it? He went to fight Galactus, and he throws baby Thanos at the Watcher. He says, "Here, hold him. Don't let him see what's about to happen." And then he just goes and fights.
And just, the gore and I'm a bit fitting of somebody who is Punisher.
I love how powerful he is in this. He's like OD powerful. Yeah. Even he says, "I'm not even at like my full strength. That like I'm holding back on you." And
there's a lot of instances. There's a lot of instances where someone tries to get at him, and he basically tries to at first explain, like, you don't want none of this. Like, I will destroy you. But then ultimately, they try anyway. They all try. They all fail. They all fall to Cosmic Ghost Rider. But of all places that he can go, Frank decides that he wants to go to the beginning. Because he wonders how Thanos was ever given a chance to even be alive. With all the brilliant scientists out there who have tried and attempted and completed time travel, and the various time travel assassins in the comic lore, how anyone has never tried to kill baby Thanos.
Yeah, I don't know why Deadpool never did it. Doesn't he have a time travel on his belt?
Yeah, well, you saw what he did with Hitler.
No, that's what I'm saying. I don't know why he didn't just go back in time. If anybody can kill a baby with no remorse, it's Wade Wilson.
And speaking of baby Hitler, we're presented with a very baby Hitler question, right? There's a lot of philosophical questions out there that people have sometimes, like the trolley question. Would you save one person or save 5?
Yeah.
And then you have the baby Hitler question. If you can go back in time and kill baby Hitler and stop him from growing up and committing the atrocities that he is supposedly set in time to commit, would you do it? And not to say that we are anybody who is qualified in talking about killing any child, given the current events that are going on at the moment. But it's an interesting question about what you would sacrifice to.
Because I always say nobody is born evil. But then they go and tell me why I'm wrong on this, because death imprinted him.
Right. Yeah, and that's the thing that, do you believe in free will? Do you believe in fate? Can somebody change their... I guess that's what it comes down to, right?
Well, that was the whole thing. Like, that is Thanos' destiny, is to be this mad titan, no matter what.
How do you see things? You see things more in the free will camp? You see things more in that things are able to be changed?
I feel like things should be able to change, but that doesn't mean it's going to change for the better. Okay. Sometimes it can change for the worse, as we see.
Yeah.
With what he was doing a literal fool's errand.
Yeah.
So you can see that sometimes you don't want to change things, or you're changing it too much, or I think what's that quote? The road to hell was paved with good intentions.
Yeah.
That's the quote. One of my favorite quotes, because it's true.
Yeah.
The road to hell is paved in good intentions.
And that's another thing that we ironically have kind of done now for the third week in a row, is talk about time travel and the effects of time travel, and what we should prevent, what you should stop, and stuff like that. And it's always been kind of wonky, because they've always explicitly said that it is kind of like the butterfly effect, and that's an old saying about what a butterfly flaps its wings in China can cause a hurricane
somewhere else.
Yeah, somewhere else. And it's the idea that the small changes that you do in one place, would change everything. You go back in time and change what color shoes you wear, and somebody doesn't point out that they like your shoes, and therefore that person doesn't take the extra time to cross the street, and they don't get hit by that car, and then everything goes down that road. So even knowing the domino effect of that, when faced with everything, and I mean, come on, Frank's been through a lot, right?
Yeah.
This isn't really a choice at this point, because of all the massive amounts of murder and body and gore and viscera that Thanos has, the body count that he's acquired at this point. I think it's almost a no-brainer for him to go back and kill this baby.
I would have went back in time to when my family was killed by the mob and just get them themselves.
Yeah.
I'd do that. I'd keep my family alive.
How do you feel about that panel that shows Frank with the gun aimed into the crib?
Yo,
it was startling imagery.
Funny. It was hilarious that he was going to really shoot this baby in its crib. And then here comes Jack from The Incredibles.
Yeah, Baby Thanos is not one to be messed around with. He jumps, he can speak. He leaps out of the crib.
And not even baby talk. He was speaking in full sentences. He was understanding, but not understanding. So, you see where his brain is, but it was still...
He was 3.
He was 3?
Yeah, they say that in the second issue. He's 3 years old. And so 3-year-old Thanos basically confuses, what are you doing? Where's my mommy? What do you want with me? And Ghost Rider decides to give him the penance there. And like I said before, when he was working as the black right hand of King Thanos, the older version of the future Thanos loved it. Every morning he would make him look at all the pain that he's inflicted upon the world.
That's a lot.
And to most people, like I said again, they would claw their eyes out, or they would literally. We've seen people turn to smoke. Yeah. In the movies, he's given the penance there in both the films that I've seen.
Oh yeah, and the first one he gave a penance there to some guy, and his eyes turned all the way black, and he just went catatonic.
Yeah, it literally, and that's why he's mostly ever used the penance there on sinners, on people who've committed amounts of sin on the innocent. That's basically what it is. You get imbued with all the pain and that you've ever inflicted on innocent bodies. Which is actually a kind of
cool scene in the first movie where the second he looks into his eyes, you see different scenes of that character, robbing people, killing people, raping, and it's wow, that's how you do a penance there in a movie if you're gonna do it.
And so this thing that's supposed to make you rip out your eyes out of your sockets because of the torment, it says that Thanos, like I said, used to do it on a daily basis because for him it revealed acts so vile, so wretched that we can't even bear to show them in the comic. It says, for there are his hidden things, his darkest deeds. He basically takes pride in all of it. For him, it's triumph.
Because he is inevitable.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, yeah, right. It's a love letter written in blood, and then spilled across the stars.
Well, I mean, when you're in love with death, and this is what you do to impress her, you're not gonna look at your penance oh, I maybe shouldn't have done that. You're gonna look at your penance
a statue, right?
Yeah,
it's a tribute.
You take pride in it. You're yeah, I did that. I killed Hulk. I killed Sentry. I did that for death.
All those innocent people. Yeah,
I did that for death. I'm the man. I'm gonna pat myself on the back for that. That's how I feel. Thanos was. So to look at every pain you've ever inflicted and feel prideful in that, yeah, you're a mad kid.
And do it every morning.
That's his breakfast.
Yeah,
that's his breakfast.
For breakfast. So knowing that, like I said, knowing that, you got to think that's the kind of stuff that makes, and it shouldn't make, but makes going back in time and trying to kill this baby easy. It's like, if I don't do it now, he becomes the person who feeds on his own demonic deeds and stuff like that. And so he decides, oh, I'll just do it again. I'll do it to this baby. And,
he's innocent.
Yeah, I like the wording on it. He says he's not Thanos yet.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
Because there's time to change. There's, like I said, nobody is born evil.
Yeah.
If Hitler was given up for adoption instead of raised by his family, he probably would never even have been who he was.
Yeah.
So, given that Thanos...
See, but I subscribe, and I don't know where this comes from, but I subscribe to the idea that, like, we'd just get a new Hitler.
No, it's just...
Yeah,
Stalin killed more people than Hitler.
There would just be another... I've always subscribed to if you change something in the timeline, it would just be replaced with either something worse or something of equal value. Yeah. Usually something worse.
No, that's true. Like, some things are just...
set. But...
yeah, they're set in stone.
But again, when, talking about Hitler and other, like, dictators or horrible people in history that have massacred millions, is still a fraction compared to talking about Thanos, this fictional tyrant, because of the massive amount of deaths,
different planets, different worlds,
the massive amounts of deaths on his hands. It makes it a lot less.
And
murky.
You even see how many people he killed in Endgame's final act.
Yeah,
you really see how much he snapped. I mean, I guess if you want to look at it, it's like a lot of them were humans and innocent.
And that's
people.
Not all of them. Yeah,
that's not all of them.
Yeah.
They were still innocent
and parrots and earthworms.
But as far as heroes go, you see how many good people were affected by that snap. Yeah. So it's crazy to think that if you could just raise him different. So he tried. Oh yes. Oh guys. You guys need to read this comic. There is nothing better than watching Cosmic Ghost Rider punch a baby Thanos in the face.
And I really do like the art by Dylan Burnett. I like the way the
art is fantastic.
I like the way all the chains glow. I do dig the point that
I like
Cosmic Ghost Rider.
Thanos' drawing.
Yeah,
especially like issue 4 and issue 5. I like that, but I like how he has the
older Thanos.
Yeah, the older Thanos. I like that, but I like the rugged chin he still has even as a baby.
Yeah, so we see Frank decide that, you know what, not everybody's fate is written in stone, and maybe if he's able to take this child, he can change the effects and change Thanos from becoming a murderous tyrant across the cosmos. And he decides
he's not exactly the best parental figure.
No, so he decides to get some advice. He goes to a planet that he knows probably won't exist in 10 minutes, and I guess that's why he goes there and goes to the bar there.
No, that's because he said a story. He was like, I remember a guy. He doesn't even remember Galactus' name. He's like, I remember a friend telling me about that this planet was like doomed or something.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, wait a minute, I remember now.
But also, you can run up a tab and not have to worry that you're going to pay it.
That's one of probably the most unbelievable thing to me, because like tabs don't work that way. You can't just walk into a bar, get a free drink, and say, put it on my tab.
Oh,
you need to be an established customer.
Yeah, or give him your card.
Yeah, or give him your card.
You already got to give him your card, yeah.
What does he have, pockets? He has a wallet?
And that's the same thing, the idea that bars exist. That's something in all science fiction.
Happy hour, no less.
In all science fiction, bars exist.
Yo, are writers alcoholics, low-key?
Or do you just think that that's universal? Like, everybody needs to... Life is so miserable across the cosmos that everybody needs to be intoxicated.
Basically, because there was a lot of bars in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, I think there's a bar in Star Wars. I'm pretty sure there's a bar in Star Trek.
Yeah, no, there is a bar in Star Trek.
You know?
That's how James T. Kirk got recruited.
Yeah, you see?
They found him in a bar.
You understand? So there's bars... That's just funny.
No, that's how he was recruited to the Enterprise. They found him like drinking and starting fights in bars.
And that's probably why Frank is in here. And this entire time, Frank as the former Black Hand of the God King Thanos, as the
Herald of Galactus,
as the Herald of Galactus, as the Spirit of Vengeance, is trying to convince Baby Thanos that killing is not cool.
But not saving them.
You don't have to. Yeah, you don't have to. It's the Batman thing, right?
Yo, I don't have to kill you, but
I'm not going to save you.
That was so bad. Once he said that, I knew it. That's not. You don't say that to this particular.
They try to kick them out of the bar because he has a baby, and through a bunch of expletives, Frank's like, "Don't worry about it. I'm paying for everything, and I'm old enough, and this planet is not even going to exist in 10 minutes. And when they look outside, Galactus is there. And like I said before, him and Galactus, this is a past version of Galactus, but him and Galactus in the future.
This was actually my most annoying part of not any of the action specifically. It was Frank that kind of like annoyed me.
Oh, he annoyed you?
He keeps calling Galactus Galant. Like he was giving like nicknames.
Oh, Galen. No, Galen I think is his actual name.
Is that his? He has like I didn't know Galactus is an actual name.
Yeah, it's like Thanos too. I found out that his name is not really Thanos. His name is like Dione or something like that. Dione.
Well, like Dione? What?
Dion, yeah.
That's crazy, Dion. Dion, that's his name.
Yeah, Dion. Is that what that is? Dion. Yes. It says alter ego is Galen.
Oh, alter ego. Sometimes sometimes they write alter ego. Sometimes they write aliases, especially in Wikipedia. So it's like, and they also do write real names. Like you see that if they have a real name or an alias or an alter ego. But I didn't know Galen was an alter ego. That's dope, actually.
Yeah.
Because the whole time I'm thinking he's like giving him like a nickname. I'm like, wow, you guys like. He's calling him his friend. They're actually buddies like
I get that. Yeah.
So I felt like he was giving him a nickname.
No, yeah.
And behold, his nickname really is Galen.
He knew him that good. He knew him that well that they knew each other.
They were on a nickname base. He called him Francis.
Well, not a nickname base, but no, on a real name, a first name basis.
Yeah, they're on a real first name basis.
A real first name basis. Yeah, and so he goes to Galactus, and he's first of all, Galactus tries to just straight out kill him, and at one point tries to like rip his mind apart. But the only reason he can't is because Cosmic Ghost Rider is that god. He's already imbued with the power cosmic. And so he goes, listen, bro, you already know how to like look through people's minds. Just look through my mind and tell them I'm telling the truth. I'm Frank. You know me. You're going to know me in the future. And he does. He looks through his mind and realizes that they both fall.
Oh, yeah, and it says like anybody that goes through this would have like had their mind melted and ripped apart. Yeah, and he's like, but me, doesn't happen.
Yeah, and so he basically just goes through all his files and folders on his desktop. That's in his mind, and
he went to the camera roll, and
he's extremely shocked and even kind of moved, right? That they become such big friends in the future. I felt like Galactus was kind of like, like
no, they
wow,
were really buddy in this. Where it was so weird that it's making me want to read. Like I wish they don't have one together, right?
Well, it's one issue in Thanos where they meet up and they become friends to stop Thanos.
And then I'm gonna have to write a letter to Marvel because I really need like at least a 4-issue what if Galactus
like a road trip.
No, I need them
Galactus
doing
and
that.
Cosmic Ghost Rider.
Yeah, like that's I don't know why, but it seemed cool.
Yeah,
that Frank Castle and Galactus would be like actually bond like that.
Yeah, and then when you think of Frank Castle, you think of big guns, and Galactus is literally the biggest gun. And so if you think about it in that way, it's actually kind of cosmic.
Did he shoot
Baby
Thanos in like or he shot the Watcher or somebody in a gun. I don't remember who he put in that giant space gun.
Oh, I remember something like that. Yeah.
And he just put somebody in the space gun and just shot him into space. It was the funniest thing ever.
Oh, Cable does that.
Oh, it was. Oh, yes, he was giant. It was Cable was giant. Yeah. Okay.
And so what ends up happening is Frank's like, you listen, you become my friend. I'm just carrying Thanos. He's like, oh yeah, I know what you're doing. You're carrying Thanos so you can kill him. And he's like, well. Not really. He's like, listen, you have to kill him. You've had many times chances to kill him. You haven't killed him yet. You've been chilling with him. Let me kill him. I'll kill him. I'm totally down. He says like Galactus will kill the baby. Like, hand me the baby. Galactus will kill the baby. And Frank's like, nah, he's not about it. Cranks up the Cosmic Ghost Rider powers and stuff like that, and gets into like a little beef with Galactus before
Yo, how do you
the
pronounce
Watcher
this
shows
guy's
up.
name?
Uatu.
Uatu?
Yeah.
Okay.
Uatu.
I had no idea.
Oh, that's how I pronounce it.
I was pronouncing it like the wrestling Samoans, Ottawa.
Yeah.
I was just saying Ottawa.
Uatu, the Watcher, who only ever shows up when big world-ending events are going to happen. World-changing events.
They're not allowed to interfere.
Yeah, but
they have to watch it no matter what.
Yep, they're the cucks of the Marvel Universe, so they just step back and they watch in the background. And so
the cucks of the Marvel Universe.
Listen,
oh my god!
And so push comes to shove, and Frank's like, "What are you doing here?" Because that's what happens. They're about to fight, and Thanos goes, "Big baby," or something like "Space baby" or something like that. Sky baby.
Sky baby. He points up and says, "Sky baby."
And he looks over and he's like, "Oh, Sky baby. Oh, Watto's here." And Watto's like, Nothing. I'm just here to watch like the single worst decision to have ever happened in the universe take place right now.
Oh, yeah, because he thought he was gonna be on his side with them. He's like, no, actually, what you're doing is wrong.
Yeah, he's like, what you're doing is allowing for a world in which Thanos lives, and not only does he live, he was raised by Frank Castle.
Yeah, damn it, Frank!
And he's like, what the hell's so wrong with that? He's like, oh, nothing. Just realize that I'm here to witness you make the biggest mistake.
He's like, you are literally embarking on a fool's errand.
And this is the part where like it gets a little like crazy / like bonkers.
This was the best part of this entire fight. One of the probably second. Yeah, this would be number 2 besides that last issue. Issue 5 is just everything about issue 5. I thought was brilliantly written. Fantastic illustration, good storyline, but this right here is my favorite, like, everything of this entire comic.
Because when it is said that this is like you're starting for the worst. What your decision is about to do is make the worst future that is possible.
The darkest timeline.
Frank's like, yeah, okay, what? He literally like goes. Like, he's like, get out of here. Okay. What's the odds? And then Uatu says, watch this. And then all of a sudden, out of space and time, the Guardians of the Galaxy from the future show up. And it's Cable. It's a version of Rocket Raccoon with Groot's armor. And he creates Iron Man armor.
Yeah, wasn't it Iron Rocket?
Iron Groot, I think it's called.
Iron
something like that. And he fashioned a Iron Man suit out of Groot.
That's what it was. All you see is baby Groot with Rocket's head, and it was just the weirdest thing ever.
Juggernaut
with a duck bill. What was it? Howard the Duck. Howard the Juggernaut. Juggernaut the Duck. Oh my God! And then Jubilee. Yeah. What else can we say? What else is there to say? And Cable.
Yes, and Cable's leading it. Cable, time traveling Cable. That's what he does.
Of course, yeah. That's why it made sense when Cable popped up.
That's how he gets down, and Cable is pissed, and all of his Guardians. Oh, and the Captain America, right? Did we speak about Captain America? America Chavez, is it?
No, that other Kamala Khan.
Kamala Khan, yes, is Captain America.
Yep. No, yeah. Captain Marvel said.
Captain Marvel, Captain America's shield.
Yeah, it was Captain America's shield and the Captain America like uniform, but it said Captain Marvel. That's why I thought it was pretty weird, but.
Okay.
I liked it.
They're sitting there, they're talking about, like, this is the worst decision ever. We're here to stop you from doing this, and we need to kill the baby. So now, not only has Frank come back in time to kill this baby, but now he's already starting an alternate future where things are seemingly being warned to be worse than before. And now, people are coming from the future to stop that. So, I guess Frank realizes that these guys are not going to let this go. They're not going to stop trying to kill this baby. And so he hands the baby to Uatu and says, you need to hold this. Can you hold down the baby and not let the baby see this? And proceeds to go on.
Because it's going to get explicit.
Yes, proceeds to go on a humongous massacre. Can you explain to these people how bad things got?
All right, listen. This is my favorite part of this entire 5-issue comic. Now, when Cable comes in and he has his Guardians of the Galaxy, Frank just he's toying with them. Like, there is no way that he was going at full power, because even they were being able to stop him a little. But when he went to go kill Cable, Cable's like, slide one, brings in more. He had the pin particles, goes bigger, brings in more Guardians, and Frank is still going. He's like, slide 2, slide 3, more Guardians, more good guys, and he's still going.
We spoke about it a little bit that Cable. I guess we didn't allude to it too much, but Cable gets rid of Galactus. That Galactus is there.
That was it. He used. I was trying to figure out how he used the pin particles. Cable used the pin particles to become Giant Man, and he literally grabbed Galactus by the head, grabbed him by the head with 2 fingers, puts him in a giant space cannon, and just shoots him.
It shoots him into space.
Oh my God! He's like, put me down and all. Put Galactus down.
And so what ends up happening is, like you were saying, Frank fights the first team of Guardians that he encounters, the one we were just talking about with Howard the Duck and all those kinds. And right when he gets basically through to murdering all of them, Cable goes back to the future, gets another group of Guardians, and himself from the future goes back.
Oh, so that's what he was doing when he kept saying slide and went a white panel. He was going back. He was going to the future, bringing more people back.
And training and getting more people back. And so, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, maybe
he went to slide 45.
Many different iterations of future Cable. He's getting older and older, more scarred up, longer hair, and different versions of the Guardians. You see Guardians that are all X-Men, Guardians that have all mech suits, Guardians that are all kinds of these weird amalgamations of different heroes together.
He's just ripping them apart.
There's a scene where he's just literally chopping them up with his chains.
No, yeah, it was like a whole 2 pages, and you just see different panels of like Spider-Man's head is flying. You see Wolverine dead,
and literally
crazy.
like you said, child's play.
Child's play.
Easy,
he even said he's like, I'm not even at like my full power.
But She-Hulk eventually knocks him out. Yep. When he wakes up, he thinks like, "Oh snap! I should be dead. Like the Guardians should have killed me." When he turns around, Baby Thanos is killed. The remaining Guardians.
Oh yeah! He wakes up
and he's like, "Oh man! Like I was supposed to stop him from being a murderer, and he's already murdered. This sucks."
I love how they just drew Baby Thanos to always be angry when he's fighting. Like he has his mouth is just extended.
Well, he almost tries to cut somebody's throat at the bar. They're talking about him. He jumps out, and Frank pulls him on the leash of the cosmic chain or whatever.
It's like, nope, get back here.
Yeah. And so, this is kind of like a badass scene too, because the only person left is Cable, and I think they were able to rip off one of his arms, or Thanos was ripping off one of his arms and beating him with it. And so Frank moves Thanos to the side, and Cable's like, whatever, slide by, and then Frank's like, slide by nothing, whatever. He just shoots him in the face. Yeah. He just like lights him up, like slide by nothing. And so now they're like, he's like, oh, now people can stop trying to kill you, and all this can be said and done. And then all of a sudden, a portal opens up, and out steps future.
Damn it, Frank!
Out steps future Thanos. Future Thanos the Punisher.
Yeah.
Right? Is that what we should call him? Thanos the Punisher?
Oh my god, the Mad Punisher Thanos.
The Mad Punisher Thanos.
The Mad Punisher.
A Punisher, the Punisher. A Thanos, the Thanos that was raised by Frank Castle.
My god, Frank! How could you do it? And the panel that made me literally scream, "Damn it, Frank!" in my own house was when he went to. He brings him to a peaceful. It looked seemingly peaceful.
He goes, "Come to my future." Because it's the only way. It's the only place where they will not try to kill you guys.
Yeah.
Come to a future that I'm from, whatever. And like you said, he brings. And
he brings them, and it seemingly looks peaceful. And he's like, "Wow, wait, we accomplished this? What do you mean this was the worst decision ever?" Turns around.
Well, he sees he
saw smoke.
He sees but I'm saying before then he sees grass and people are having picnics and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah, people are peaceful.
He's seriously like, how could this possibly be the worst version of the world? Literally, this is the future that Cable has come from 20 odd times to come and try to murder me, but everything seems fine here. And Thanos basically tries to explain that this is a world that he has made in tribute to Frank.
Yeah, because he keeps calling him father.
And he
so weird, by the way.
What about showing him his thing in the future? Showing him his casket.
Oh God.
He's like,
oh
my
by God.
The way, you died. I like that Frank's like, I don't want to know how I died.
Oh, but you find out anyways. And it's
great.
Yo.
I actually, for the second time I read it, I forgot that you do find out. I was like, oh, is this a thing they're leaving that dangling?
Just ambiguous as hell. No.
I thought, is it just something that they're dangling so that later on they can reveal it? But no, they reveal it in a later issue. There's also I want to say it's a variant cover, but it's humongous Punisher Thanos, and then in front of him Cosmic Ghost Rider, in front of him Baby Thanos. It's like this weird thing there.
That's called a domino effect if you've ever seen one. But that's a domino effect. But look how badass he looks though as Punisher though.
With these humongous shotguns and this armor.
He has the classic Frank the grenade launcher ammo around his body.
Yeah, he has awesome. Thanos rocking the Punisher shirt, the gloves.
Honestly, Thanos in a Punisher shirt is probably the coolest shit I've ever seen. But damn it, Frank!
Yeah, because there's butterflies, the perfect world and stuff like that. And he's like,
Infinity.
Yeah, he has a
Infinity.
Frank Castle has a casket that says Infinity. He's like, yeah, this world is a world that with everything that you taught me about not murdering, this is a world in which I've crafted for you. This is the world that's changed because you made the sacrifice in believing in me, kind of. And so,
how did he? I need to know. I need to know how he raised him. I need to know because we don't see it. We just see him protecting the baby, and then Punisher Thanos comes in. Right. I need to see what he said to him when he was 8, 9, 10. This is like Morty trying to raise Gazorpazorp.
Yeah, they make the illusion that the defining thing is the idea that the people that do wrong, you shouldn't kill, but then again, you don't have to save. Like that thing from before.
They suffer their own punishment.
So practicing that in large, Frank sees some smoke, and when he turns around, there's an entire city / slum, just industrial smoke, and fire, like and crime.
X-Men: Days of Future Past, and how like everything was just destroyed.
I felt it kind of damn it. Blade Runner-y? Like building the type of buildings in the slums and rainy, grimy.
It's kind of weird how science fiction, all their dystopian futures all look the same. It's just like a lot of neon lights or
overcrowding,
overpopulated. Everything is just like burnt to the ground, but people still manage to live.
And so you find out that Thanos has put everybody who would not bow to his rule in this place, and they're under constant punishment. They are literal slaves in this world. And when asked why, he says, "Well, you told me not to kill them." So.
Damn it, Frank! that made me scream so loud in my house.
But the thing is, it's semi-right. I mean, they're still alive, right? Like, so he's like kind of in the right. But
but the fact that he what he told him in the bar when he's like, "Why do you keep telling these people that like that the world's gonna end, but you're not gonna save them?" It's like because sometimes you don't gotta kill people, but you don't gotta save them, but they could at least die with hope.
But Thanos is also very extreme in the sense that once you tell him what the line is, he would literally just go a centimeter under it. Right?
No, there is no gray area for Thanos. It's either black or white.
Okay, so I can't kill them, but I can still punish them. And that's exactly what he's saying. He yells at Frank. He's like, "What are you talking about? I'm just punishing them. Like that's our whole thing. That's your whole thing. The Punisher. Frank. I'm making them pay for their wrongdoing. And everyone who doesn't, who is worthy and acts right, gets to live in the paradise. And everybody I deem worthy of punishment lives here in the slums and are slaves." And Frank's like, "This is ridiculous." And two things keep happening. One, Thanos keeps trying to appeal to Frank's better nature and call him dad, which Frank is getting annoyed with. Yeah,
Frank, "Father, I did this for you." Like, come on, Father, why are you being this way?
Which is getting Frank annoyed, and also Frank is getting more and more unhinged as he finds out more and more about Thanos' utopia, which is getting Thanos kind of annoyed. There's several points where Thanos is like, "Chill with how you kind of talking to me right now." You know what I'm saying?
He was.
By the way, like, do not forget who you're talking to for a second there.
Yo, Thanos ain't with it, man.
And so you can feel these tempers rising because Frank is like, "Stop calling me dad. This is not what I wanted."
He was yelling and yelling. He's like, "Come on," and all that.
Yeah, like this is ridiculous. I would never want this. This is not what I wanted. And do you think Thanos' thing is an oversimplification of Frank's, or is that literally the result of Frank's mentality?
It's got to be both. Because, all right, I guess because since MCU did give us Thanos to, like, work with, I'll always see that Thanos in here, in any comic I read of him. So this whole, I call that mercy, or, I am inevitable, and all of that characteristics are here. So, no. Thanos definitely he's just an extreme person.
Yeah.
So this isn't the result of Frank raising him. This is the result of him like going overboard.
His nature of always taking things to
the next level. He so I don't have to kill them, but I don't have to try and appease to them. They could just go rot.
And we'll talk about this a little bit more in a little bit more detail when we get to a scene that plays it more. But that's what kind of encapsulates this idea that this story is less about Frank Castle raising Thanos than it is more about Frank Castle trying to fight fate. And at one point he yells, "There's no such thing as destiny. We can change things, Thanos. We don't have to be whatever we've become." And he yells that. he screams that in Thanos' face, which makes you think that he definitely like that's something that he believes, and maybe in many ways he has to believe it as a undying.
No, I think he has to believe it because I don't. I guess it's just in his character design, but Thanos is all about destiny and fate.
Yeah, you're right. I feel in every sense that Thanos has to believe in destiny. Frank has to not.
Because one needs
because,
purpose. That's why.
Right. Yeah.
You need
Frank doesn't need purpose.
No, that's the thing.
Yeah.
Once you feel like you need purpose, no matter everything you do is for the sake of that purpose, whether good, whether bad, whether harmful.
And also, Thanos has always had illusions of grandeur and always wanted, and always wanted, saw himself in the future, becoming a great thing in his eyes, something great. And so to him, it's much more about the predestined legacy that he has. I don't have to, I am doing all this because one day I am destined to be great. That's much easier for him than just having to make the choice every day to be great. Like, don't worry about it. In the future, I'm meant to be great. I'm always going to be great. Like, that's how this works. Whereas Frank, somebody who's lost so much, he can't believe that this is always destined to be this way.
That he's just going to be
crazy.
This Punisher, go crazy.
You would go crazy again. He's already gone crazy. But you'd go crazy again if you believed that your existence has always been destined to be torture from the moment that you come back from war to when your parents die. I mean, when your family is killed, to when you're killed, to when your friend Galactus is killed, to then when you're killed again.
Like, well, it goes back to the ancient one. Yeah. Time is a tree. It's like one branch, and you mess with time, and it's little branches that grow. So, if you're going from point A to B, but then you're like, let me just detour over here. Now you're going from point A to point A2, point A3, now back to B, but that still exists in time. Those are still different possibilities or realities.
And some of those are still meant to hit the same beats as the other ones.
And it kind of reminds me a lot of Deadpool in a sense, especially when you're talking about, like, a person would go crazy if they find out that no matter what, their time is a straight line. Even if they detract away, they're still going to go back to that straight line. Yeah. Same with Deadpool and Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe.
Oh, when he figures out
he figures out he's a comic book. Like, it's. I guess they always played with that nature that he knew he was a comic book, but they really went into it that he did not know about this fourth wallness in Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe.
Cosmic Ghost Rider has the knowledge of all that. He has the knowledge of all these humongous entities like Galactus, who have the power of cosmic, these intense ideas of eternity and Eternals, and
I would like to see him fight the Beyonder.
Yeah, like these humongous, he has knowledge of that. But in this fight and argument with future Thanos, he's literally fighting and arguing with fate. That's what's looking at him. Basically. This idea that no matter what, this is what this man, this purple freaking murderous tyrant will always be a purple murderous tyrant, and it's always gonna end with Frank, having to suffer because
change
of it.
Fate.
Yeah.
Fate isn't something that you think you have. Fate isn't something that...
That's what I'm saying. What side of that do you come on?
I come on the side where I believe in free will, yes. Yeah. But if you are just born knowing how to do something, or you just know in your heart of hearts, this is what I'm meant to do, that is your fate. Yeah. I personally believe I was meant for movies.
Right.
Talking about them, finding out how you make them, writing, storytelling, and all of that. That's my fate. You are a creator. Mm. You are a content creator. That is your fate. But you also have the free will to not follow your fate. That's where I fall too. It's like you can stop this major issues. You can stop doing all the T-shirts. You could just cancel Comic Book Clique, right, and just be a janitor. But are you going to be happy? No, because you're not following your fate. Yeah. Your fate is something that you just know in your heart, this is what I'm meant to do.
But you do believe that you can create the butterfly effect of trying to change things.
I guess it's not really change, more it's just like not fall in line with the inevitable. Like the inevitable becomes inevitable. Yeah. In a sense.
And I think that's what Frank thinks, but this is more telling him that it's always going to snap back. The rubber band's always going to...
That's what a lot of scientists also believe, that time is a rubber band.
And so looking
snaps no matter what.
Looking at that, that's the anger that he feels, is like, how does it still end up this way? Right? Like how this is the one in a million thing of me raising, people. And
Doctor Strange ain't gonna see those 14 million outcomes.
And Frank's just appalled by this level of carelessness and callousness that Thanos is displaying. And Thanos says, "What would you have me do? You raised me to not kill, and yet we cannot allow these people to intermingle with the good. They will never accept the life we have given them. They are incapable of peace, and they can never be redeemed."
That just sounds like slavery with extra steps.
And basically, Thanos is like, "I'm doing all this for you. Like, chill the hell out." And he's like, "That's not what I
knew it was that when you like see them at the house.
He's like, that's not what I'm here to do." He's like, "Don't you understand what I'm here trying to protect?" And it shows Frank Castle and his wife.
Now that I'm actually thinking of it, because I didn't think of it yesterday, that's why he's doing what he's doing, so that his father doesn't lose his wife and kid.
Yeah.
He made that society where the bad is over there and the good's over here, so that bad never kills his family. So he's seemingly changing Frank's fate.
Yeah. Because Thanos... I think the biggest thing, though, I guess we forgot to say, is that Thanos is millions of years old. So when going back to him as a baby, Frank is not born yet.
Oh, yeah.
And so when they go back to Earth, then he ends up being born, and Thanos is there to make sure that
and then he protected Frank his entire life.
Right, exactly, yeah.
Make sure he didn't have to go to war. Right. Make sure he didn't have to get attacked by them. Wow.
Yeah, yes.
Wow, now that it makes sense.
Yeah.
And he sees him as an adoptive father.
And that's him in love. Is like, and that Punisher logo is all over that city of slaves.
Yeah, there's a Zeppelin with like what was the name
Punishing
of that?
Penance or something like that.
Punisher Penance.
Protecting Penance or something like that.
That's awesome. Protecting Penance.
Yeah, it was something like that, and it's it really just shows the lengths that he goes to in the extremes. And Frank has had about enough, even seeing the new version of his family, because he's still like, if everything went right, then why am I still this? If you did fix everything, then why am I still this? It's because it's always meant to go wrong. You're always meant to go wrong. And
which
probably
it
in the
shows
future,
with him going
which
to
is that frustration.
Yeah.
That's the anger. That's the frustration. And he fires up as Ghost Rider.
Fate. That is the scariest thing in the world. That's Frank's fate.
And Thanos is a bit tired of the charade, and he basically is like, "I killed you."
Yes,
right?
yes.
He's like,
that
by
was
the
one
way,
of great. Well, you're there. What did he say? He's like, "Yeah, do you remember the last time you tried to oppose me?"
Yeah, he's like, "I put you in the ground" or something like that.
Yo, my God.
And then Frank just wilds out because he's already crazy. He's like, "You're gonna do it again. You're gonna get crazy, and then I'm gonna have to, deal with the devil, and I'll be back to here, and I'll be back to being a murderer, and I'll be back to working for you, and it'll all go happen again."
It's just a hamster wheel of chaos.
And he flips out, grabs the baby, and aims a gun at his head again. This is the second time in this Marvel comic where the Cosmic Ghost Rider has aimed a gun at Baby Thanos, and I guess future Thanos, to protect him, blasts him with almost a Omega beam. That's exactly what I thought. A Mega beam type ray, and starts to beat the brakes into him. And he's like, "But by the way, you don't have to die." Oh, that's the picture I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah, you should use that as the cover art.
I'm gonna save it now.
Yeah, that's an awesome.
You guys are getting
cover
behind the scenes look at this stuff right now.
Yeah,
so
one day we'll do a live one.
And so he's like, "Yeah, we don't have to die. We could just team up. Why don't you be my herald?"
Yo, that is what freaked me out. I was like, "Yo,
but that's also the same thing that happened before. So it's literally going all back.
He's like, "I can't stop you. You can't stop me. Let's just partner up again."
Yeah. So he's like, "Just accept who you've always."
This time, instead of it being like two different beings that are different but the same, it's like, "Dad, just come on, Dad."
And I like that Frank goes, it doesn't matter how many mistakes you make in life as long as you only make them once.
True.
And so this time he does not make the mistake, and he shoots his son, his adopted son. He shoots Thanos, but Thanos is way stronger than that. Even though he falls down to the ground, Frank has had it, and he literally just Super Saiyans it up, Ghost Riders it up, the flames of hell.
So Superman God mode, it was not even funny.
And
And it was just like, look at the illustration. Please, guys. I know if you're listening to this, then you probably have read it. But if you haven't read it, then you definitely have to read it. Because look at you have Punisher Police.
Yeah, Punisher has Punisher Patrol. Thanos has cops, militant cops in the city.
Look at that specific panel, bottom right hand corner. Tell me that's not James Brolin.
I was about to say Josh Brolin.
Josh Brolin. Sorry, James is his father. Yeah. Tell me that's not Josh Brolin's fucking face.
It looks a lot like Josh.
It looks a lot like.
Those are the eyes I'm talking about, though. You see, they've always been depicted. Yeah, no,
those blue, eyes were definitely in Guardians of the Galaxy. But the way he's like screaming. All I see in that panel is when he's like, it would have been a waste of parts.
Yes. And so they're attacking each other, and they're having the kind of a heartfelt discussion because Thanos is like, I can't believe you're doing this to me. I did all this for you. And Frank's like, stop saying that. I don't love you. I try to stop you from becoming a murderer, and you're just a murderer again.
He's like, I have a family. I have an uncle.
Look at that splash page, though.
It's like, I have a father. His name was Ben Parker.
Yo, yeah.
It's like, I have a family. They died. Nothing's going to change that. Like,
yeah, he's like, do you have any idea how much I hold back to not destroy worlds as I walk?
I try to
change you. To change this. Please, Father, you are not my son. My children are dead, and there's nothing that could change that. Nothing. Boom. And he basically leaves a naked Thanos smoldering.
But when he said that, when he was just like, do you know how hard it is for me to not just ooze power?
Destroy worlds as I walk.
That's my new line.
Yeah, man.
That's my new line.
And that line very much reminded me of the Superman,
Yes, when I live in a world of cardboard, and this is my one chance to let go.
Yeah,
oh my
god, definitely gave
that
me...
was when that is when I legit fell in love with Superman.
Yeah.
When he just did that one monologue where he's like, I'm always living in a world of cardboard, trying to be careful not to break things, and stuff like that. But now it's time to let loose a little bit, and he murked Darkseid, murked them,
and so
Look at that smiling face.
Because he basically does all that for a drop of blood. Like, even when he lets loose, Thanos is still alive, smoldering, but still alive. And he's like, oh, is that the best you got? And he goes, no, I'm going to give you one more thing, penance. He's like, oh, that penance thing that you're talking about? And he was like,
what?
He's like, what, that's the best you got? Unlike you,
Thanos
is not. He said, unlike you, Thanos is not burdened by regret. And he goes, I never said anything about a stare, boy. I said penance. And
penance is punishment.
Yeah, he just unleashes cosmic hellfire.
Literally cosmic hellfire. It's
that destroys Thanos.
Does he hold it? Like, he's holding him with a skull
rips off
in his
skull.
hand.
It destroys all the muscle tissue, skin, all of that on Thanos.
It's like, to be or not to be.
He grabs the skull and smashes it in his own.
He crushes his skull in the palm of his hand.
And he meets Hope Summers from the future, because we also find out that this is where this is the same future that Cable came from. That Cable,
the one that's like Deadpool 2 that we know where his...
No, the Cable that came to with the Guardians.
This is the future where the Guardians Cable came from.
Yes, and so
Hope is his daughter.
Yeah, and that she's also part of the Resistance, because older Punisher Thanos knows of the rebels that live in the town that are led by Cable and they're going back in time and stuff like that. He knows of them. And so Hope is like, have you seen Cable? He's like, oh no, don't worry about Cable. And she gives him a time traveling device unknowingly. And so using the time travel device.
It's like, when you see him, can you give this to him? He's like, oh yeah, I'm going to use this real quick.
Using the time travel device, he goes and Baby Thanos already understands.
I think he should have just left Baby Thanos with non-violent Frank.
But I think he's at the point where that's always going, you know what I'm saying?
It's
always somehow.
Oh, because that Baby Thanos was still a little not bad guy, but he was very abrasive and quick to prone and anger out.
And he would still be living in a world where that city is that city.
Oh yeah.
So who knows what happens from that? Does he get? Well, inspired?
You could do the Lion King thing where I see everything beyond the shadow place. We don't go there.
But what if he gets inspired? He's like, that was me. I could get to those heights. I want to be a ruler. You know what I'm saying? Like
this just goes back to just fate being a straight line.
That's what I'm saying. It always goes back to that, and I think he realized that, and he was like, nah, screw it. And it hurt him because that meant leaving the Frank castle that never has to see his family die behind, and closing that timeline.
Yep. At least he got to see his wife.
That was a bit of a sad exchange where he's like, what's gonna happen to this timeline? It's gonna die, isn't it? And he's like, yeah, you know, it is what it is. Like, you're taking me back, huh? It's like, yeah, I'm taking you back.
Yeah, look at that. Oh man, she knew. She knew.
Yeah.
She knew. He doesn't matter if he had a beard, wrinkly skin, and long hair. She just knew that was her husband.
Yeah. But like he said, you know, he says, I thought that maybe if I went back and fixed all the worst things to happen, it would mean that there'd be hope for him too. He just wants to basically have. He wanted redemption. He wanted the same redemption that he wanted to give Thanos. Yeah. And by not being able to give that to Thanos, he feels like maybe he's not worth it anyway. That's that's real stuff sometimes, you know.
Because he couldn't do what.
How often do we put our own personal value in something that we try to accomplish, and when we do not accomplish that, then our value goes down?
Yeah.
Because we try to. This was gonna be the representation.
Example for you with your T-shirt.
Yeah.
With your we survived the Age of Ultron and
Infinity
War.
Yeah.
Like when your T-shirt got taken down, you were distraught.
I can't because it cut you at the knees and it makes you.
I'm not
wonder.
Gonna lie, he was distraught for a couple of days about it, and I felt bad that you were distraught about it.
It was a good shirt, but it's the same thing. Like they cut you off at the knees and you.
But now you
worry.
Now people have exclusives out there.
Oh yeah,
you can never find that shirt ever.
Oh no, yes. Anyone who got those Avengers T-shirts made by Comic Book, like you guys, you have a exclusive piece of merchandise,
limited series.
And the thing is, and the same thing, like I do not regret making the shirt, and I'm pretty sure Frank has no regrets, but he is really trying to wager what he is worth in this world, and if he can't even stop somebody like Thanos, and if he's always going to become the merchant of death that he is, does he deserve any kind of redemption at this point? And those are all deep things to think about, but we ultimately find out, as you were alluding to earlier, that he puts Baby Thanos back to sleep, and we find out, because as he tries to walk out, he bumps into Death, old lady Death, old love interest of Thanos.
And she's like, thanks for teaching him how to kill.
And she's basically like, yeah, this happens all the time.
Damn it,
This
Frank.
is in every timeline. You teach him how to kill. You come, yeah, you come. You take him.
I hope that stays content. I hope that stays canon. I hope that stays canon.
You come, you take him, you bring him back, and in the time that you take him, you bring him back, he sees you murder countless people, and he murdered himself. He did murder himself. And that's how he learns how to kill through you. So thanks for doing that, because that's what this always is. And Frank
please
says,
be canon, Marvel, please.
And so Frank is like, you know, like he said, oh crap or whatever. And he's like, can I ask you something, whatever? And he's like, can we really not change anything? Are we really susceptible to this? And she's like, there's people that can change, but if once I mark you as an instrument of death, with that. You're fated to serve me.
Yeah. So not only are you friend zoning him, but Thanos didn't even get a chance to live, in a sense. If you really think of it, Thanos never had a chance. He never had the opportunity. Yeah. Because the second he was born, death imprinted on him to always be this mad titan. Doesn't matter of the infinite timelines, Thanos will always be a bad guy.
And there was a little bit of an inkling of that, because he has basically a murder boner, even as a 3-year-old, right? Like
when he attacked Frank out of nowhere,
he's bloodthirsty. So he was kind of always fated to be that way.
It's like Morty raising Gazorp.
How do you feel about that? Does that make Thanos any more or less realistic? Some people.
It actually makes Thanos more sympathetic to me.
Because I argue about this with the Joker. Should the Joker be sympathetic, or should he be this cartoonish, always evil, there's no changing him kind of person?
No.
Or do you believe that that's a cartoonish idea? Do you believe that there's actual people in the world that are unchangeable? No, what's your idea on redemption?
I think the Joker, when it comes down to, does he have to be this way because of his past trauma? No. He didn't have to. Okay, you lost your kid and you lost your wife and you're a failed comic book. And maybe you don't have to go down this route. Yeah. You can do something else. It may not be what you want to do, but sometimes what you want to do and what you're meant to do are not mutually exclusive. So I have no sympathy for the Joker. As much as I love the Joker, there is no redemption for him. There is no reason why he's crazy. You can't say that he was a war.
He's not justified in any of his actions.
He was always like that. Yeah. He was always like that.
Yeah.
But Thanos, on the other hand, Thanos never had a chance to make that decision. The Joker had that chance to make that decision.
Okay.
Thanos didn't. Yeah. The second Thanos was born, death imprinted her will on him.
So which do you think makes for the more evil villain?
Joker.
The one destined to be evil forever, the one who makes the choice to be evil forever. The one who makes the choice?
Because
it's an interesting thought process.
Because it's free will versus destiny and fate.
Yeah.
Joker is choosing to kill. All right, perfect example.
But
Batman
it also
Returns.
depends. But it also depends on whether or not you believe in either one. Because if I don't believe in free will, then I would believe that Joker's always destined to make the choice. And if I don't believe in fate, I believe that everything Thanos is doing is his free will that will lead him to the same path.
Well, look at Dark Knight Returns.
Yeah.
For 20 years, Joker didn't kill.
Right.
He wasn't evil. He had no reason to be. He had no motivation.
Yeah.
When Batman came back, he chose to do that.
To come back. And
what if it was just... We could play hypotheticals all day and say that what if Joker was actually sleeping during the time that the news broadcast came out that the Batman came out? Yeah. Now, Joker would have never have known that Batman returned, and he would still be where he was.
Yeah, Joker is kind of the answer to Batman, whereas Thanos is, I guess, the answer to the universe.
In a sense, yeah.
He is what will challenge everybody.
We've seen here that no matter what anybody has tried to do, Thanos
is
going
that
to
balance.
be...
He's that evil, the evil side to the light.
He tips the pendulum every time.
He is meant to be that evil side of the light, and his obsession with death puts him squarely in that.
Now it makes more sense why he's obsessed with death. It's like, oh my God,
he brings the balance.
She friend-zoned him so hard.
But Frank says, the comic basically closes with him saying, "I don't know if there's redemption out there for something like me. Well, I don't know if I deserve it out there if it was, but honestly, screw it. Only one way to find out." And that's basically how the comic starts with Thanos. His idea that there's only one way to find out.
I want to pick up Guardians of the Galaxy with Cosmic Ghost Rider. I definitely want to pick that up myself.
And so, yeah, like I said, this battle for redemption, this idea of whether or not he's worth a damn because of the choices that he's made in his life, and whether or not Thanos is worth a damn. Yeah.
As much as the road to hell is paved with good intentions, and you see that the road to their the worst timeline in all of Marvel was paved with Frank's good intentions, he still did more than anybody else did, and he tried.
Yeah.
Because look what when he first did is he came back to kill the baby.
Yeah.
That's what he wanted to do. That was his idea. Why didn't nobody in the entire universe come back to kill this baby in his crib? And then when he came there to do it, he couldn't. So the fact that he couldn't kill a baby shows that he's still a good guy.
Yeah.
Even if
I was going to ask you that because he has also murdered a ton of people. Where do you sit on that? But that also falls into a lot of this anti-heroes,
but he doesn't murder.
But it's the Wolverine. It's the Wolverine situation. It's the OG Frank Castle situation. It's the Ghost Rider situation. What is your line on a hero and villain and murder, and when that becomes a
Batman's little archaic rule of no killing has killed more innocent people.
Well, you see what happens when you kind of have that gray here, when he says don't kill them but don't save them.
Yeah,
that's what creates this penance.
And now you have literally hundreds upon hundreds of superheroes that are morphed together in different ways. Yeah, trying to stop Thanos, and they still can't.
Yeah.
Because no matter what, Thanos is always going to be I don't want to say overpowered. I feel like when someone calls something overpowered, it's like...
It's
like
an
insult. Yeah, it's like an insult to them. Yeah. But superpowered, in a sense. Like, Thanos is strong.
Yes, he is.
He is strong, and we saw in Thanos Wins that he is just ripping apart, bodies flying a viscera. There was just no stopping Thanos.
Yeah.
He seemingly won and destroyed all of life in all possibilities of realms.
Yeah.
So... So to build for these people to just try and, I'm not getting over Juggernaut with a duck bill. Because I'm trying to find what I want to say, but I just have that picture of.
What I want to say is I think Cosmic Ghost Rider is one of the most unique and I'm pretty sure people can make lines and say it's derivative of Deadpool or say it's
a conversation of free will and fate over a one-off 5-issue series.
A 5-issue miniseries based around Cosmic Ghost Rider, a bonkers kind of premise, but that people might find derivative because it's bits of Ghost Rider, it's bits of Deadpool, it's bits of Punisher. But I actually think it's refreshing. I think it was
it really
cool
is
kind
refreshing,
of character,
especially when you mix characters together. I read a long time ago. I don't know if you want to recover it sooner or later, but Marvel versus DC. Where
that was actually on the schedule, but yeah,
where the two brothers both left and right.
Yeah, the Grandmaster and it was the Grandmaster from Marvel and it was Kronos from DC.
Yeah, and they're supposed to be they're like the opposite sides of the same coin.
And they try to bet
a contest,
and they had to get their bet was they had to get secret artifacts from they had to get artifacts from each other's world. So like they had to get the Infinity Gauntlet, but they also had to get I don't know, Dr. Fate's helmet, and then they had to get the Eye of Agamotto, but they had to get like the Spear of Destiny
Watchtower,
or whatever. Yeah. And so that's really cool. What's funny about that is in that comic, Darkseid picks up the Infinity Gauntlet, and it's like this big moment in the panels, like the way they show it, him putting it on, whatever, and then he snaps his fingers, but it doesn't work in DC's universe because it's not from that reality.
Oh, I don't even want to know what he did in Marvel's reality.
He just snapped, and it was like, and he's like, oh, and he just took the glove off and threw it.
And the reason why I bring it up is because what I liked after all the fighting happened, at the end of it, that we got these issues where these characters were morphed to get both DC and Marvel were morphed together.
Amalgam characters.
Yeah, where you got Doctor Strange fate, and when he takes off that helmet, it's Xavier.
It just feeds on the imagination.
Lobo mixed with Wolverine.
A lot of these characters that we see, a lot of the actual legit comic book characters that we see are mashups, right? Are people's like version, like
Deadpool,
Deathstroke. But Deadpool is ultimately like a Spider-Man / Wolverine.
Oh yeah, that's
character.
You mean like
you know what I'm saying?
Of his world.
Right. You know, like a lot of these comic book characters really are legitimately mashups of other comic book characters. So when you get to the outlandish ones, like the amalgam, like when you get to Dark Claw, which is Wolverine and Batman together and stuff like that, it gets kind of cool. But Cosmic Ghost Rider, man, I really, really like what they're doing there, and he doesn't seem to be going anywhere anytime soon, which is also exciting. So hopefully,
they're like that character has been in different issues.
Yeah, he's sticking around. So I'm gonna try to follow him and see what
I'm going to definitely follow. Even if we don't cover it, I'm just gonna follow him for the simple fact of you sold me on a character. It is literally the Punisher with all of his consciousness, his morals, his integrity, but with the power of literally being able to punish anyone.
Power. Limitless godlike power. Bananas.
Oh my God.
Power from the cosmos and from hell, from space and science. I mean, from science and magic.
Religion.
Science and religion, yeah.
Well,
magic. And
magic, religion, science.
All
little, bits and pieces.
Don't at me. But yeah,
it's literally just Cosmic Ghost Rider is a donut. Just a nice, fluffy donut, and just every single piece of power and ability that he has is just different sprinkles on that donut.
Yep, and then they fill it with the power cosmic, and then
that's the icing. That's the icing right in the middle.
Yes, and it makes a very delicious treat. But I'm going to try to follow that character, and the only way that you guys are going to find out whether or not we follow those characters is by following us on the Major Issues podcast.
Yes, we are getting bigger and bigger every day, and we have so many things that are gonna come to light soon. The chickens are coming home to roost.
Yes.
In very good ways, very big ways.
Yes, we're filling up our schedules. San Diego Comic-Con is not too far away. New York Comic-Con this year as well. So we're gonna, this
Dark Phoenix is coming.
Spider-Man,
Far From Home is coming.
Far From Home is coming as well. The Joker will be in the fall. We're also trying to get into several different avenues that we won't speak about right now, but just be excited for them. But first and foremost, if you're listening to any of this, I want to give a sincere thank you for downloading, listening to this, regardless of where you're hearing it from. You give us the drive to do this and be creative and have our unique voices out here talking about some of these great things. And we want to thank you for doing so.
And we would love to hear from you guys.
Yeah.
I know I say it all the time. I might sound like, a broken record. But it's just we are so enthusiastic about hearing what kind of opinions you have.
What ideas you guys, if you guys read Cosmic Ghost Rider, what other kind of one-shot or miniseries would you guys like to see us cover? From Marvel, DC, Dark Horse. Marvel, DC, Dark Horse, Image, we can do it all. We can do it all. And we're trying to do it all, but we're doing it on behalf of you guys. The numbers have been fantastic across all of our social media platforms.
Thank you guys for all of your likes on our Instagram picture. I want to give this shout out specifically to one of our pictures on Instagram, because we're at like 13,000 likes.
Yeah, it's doing quite well.
You guys are amazing.
So if you haven't followed us on social media, you can do so by going to facebook.com/comicbookclick, Instagram at comicbookclick, or use the hashtag comicbookclick to talk about the newest, hottest, latest, and greatest things to come to comic books and comic book media. I'm at Major Issues CBC, or we all are. That's where we spread a lot of the news of this podcast, share those memes, and comic book news in general, like the casting of Robert Pattinson as Batman.
But I heard it was down to him and Nicholas Hoult.
Yes, I think people are still saying that the jury's out on that, but I think it's pretty much set in stone. I don't know how I feel about
Nicholas Hoult. Not that I don't like his acting.
He's got the height. He's got the chin bone.
He looks skinny.
Any skinnier than Robert Pattinson?
I think have you seen the picture of Robert Pattinson? How he looks now?
Yeah.
He's like an 8-pack. His arms are looking nice.
They both have a particular bone structure. But yeah, thank you guys. As far as the podcast is concerned, you can literally find this podcast. If you found this podcast, I'm happy that you did. But if you want to find our whole catalog, you can go to wherever podcasts are found.
Yeah, man, we're primarily on the auto search. Yeah, I actually looked at it. We're the third one to come up in the autocomplete. So if you type in major issues, it'll be like major issues world news, major issues. Then you see major issues podcast.
Major issues podcast. If you Google major issues podcast, you'll find us. Our primary hosting site is podbean.com. And so sometimes you'll be prompted into download the Podbean app. But if you're not savvy with all that kind of stuff, we are literally wherever podcasts are found. If you have an iPhone, you already have a podcast app pre-installed, so you could just search for us. And
if you don't even want to listen to like the podcast apps, go to YouTube.
Yeah, we're on YouTube.
Click on YouTube.
We're on Google Play. We're on.
Yes, that's right.
We're on Google. We're on Google. We're on YouTube, Google Play. We're on Spotify as well. TuneFind. We're on Spotify. We're on TuneFind. We are out there, so come listen to us, get at us. I've been to the future, and you guys help us become the latest and greatest thing to come to comic books and comic book media. So keep it up. We're going to be here every single week, so make sure that you guys are. And we're happy to do so. And hopefully Dan will be here doing more comics.
I definitely this was a nice little like a introduction to how it would be to cover comics.
You're in on the next one, right? Next week, I think we'll be covering. We're going to be exploring. Yes, the X-Men universe of films, the Fox X-Men universe of films. Dark Phoenix is around the corner, and before we review that, we're going to go and take a nostalgic trip through the annals of history that is the X-Men cinematic universe, I guess you can call it.
It really was films. A cinematic universe in a sense.
Yeah, it's about 10 or some odd films at this point, and it's been a hell of a journey. So join us with that. Write us in. We'll have a bunch of posts all over Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter talking about the X-Men films this week. So try to get in on that. And if you guys can get your opinions in, you can also write them at comicbookclique@gmail.com. All those links are in the show notes, by the way. If you look at the description for this episode, all those links are there. How to get shirts from tpublic.com, how to email us at comicbookclique@gmail.com, and follow us on all of our social media sites.
Do it.
Yes, please do that.
I swear, you guys don't know. This guy says this stuff in his sleep. He just dreams of it. It's like, the latest.
It is. And I've been dreaming of this, and thank you guys for helping a dream come true.
You guys made all of this possible. We would not have gotten as, I would say, with our confidence in ourselves. We wouldn't have as much confidence in ourselves if you guys didn't give us all these listens and downloads and likes.
And that's another thing. Thank you for reminding me. The very last thing. After liking, sharing, and subscribing this show, after telling a friend to tell a friend, after spreading the gospel that is Major Issues Podcast, after you guys have done all that, or if all that is too much to do, please rate and review us on iTunes. It's the quickest way for other listeners to find us. They'll be looking for the next podcast talking about comics or talking about movies, talking about comic book television shows. And you guys rating us 5 stars will not only let us know that you like what we're doing and help us grow as podcasters, but it'll help other people find us and make the community grow. And that's what we're all here for, to help the Clique grow. You guys are in this with us and are the other side of the table commenting on all these things that we're choosing to comment on.
You love comics. You love comic book movies. You love comic book TV. So join us.
That's it, baby.
Come down to our conversation. Listen to us talk to you, because that's what we're doing. We're not just talking to ourselves. We're talking to you, the people.
And we're talking with you.
And
so make sure,
so
make sure that you are here next week where we explore those X-Men films. But my name is George Serrano, aka the Don.
I'm Dan the Comic Man.
And this has been our Cosmic Ghostwriter. I guess you can call it a recap and review. And remember,
recap and review. Oh, you're recapping it. I'm reviewing it. I guess.
There you go. And remember, whether or not you believe in free will and the ability to make choices and change your fate, or whether or not you believe fate is a steady stream, which is unchangeable, harsh, and unpredictable, or whether or not you just think Cosmic Ghostwriter is a badass, which I personally believe.
Definitely badass.
Which I personally believe. Damn it, Frank. What have you done now? Regardless, if you're any of those things, remember that you are the Clique, we are the Clique, and you, yes, you, are worthy.